Okay, so today I'm gonna try to put together these images that I shot, and we'll see if I'll manage to get what I had in mind. Start with this pink one, so I'll go ahead and open those up. And what we have is our two variations over here, and then this was to get the highlight in that black part. So let's start just painting that in. So one exposure to get a highlight in the blacks here. So I'll just put a mask on that and we'll paint that in over here and over here. So there's something happening in this black part. I'll just merge that, and we don't need that anymore. So here are our two, and I think I'll just put them in the same file. So let's grab that, put that over there. So this is our image, and I'll start by just putting my two objects in folders. So let's call them A and B. And so I'll start by scaling the canvas size. Let's make it pretty big. I'm gonna copy and paste these to create a big pattern. So we'll need a big background, and I'll just sample the pink and do a solid color. Let's put that in a group. That'll be our background, and we don't really need that anymore. So we got our background, we got our object A and object B. So let's start with A. And the first thing, I'll just clean it up a little. Okay, nice and clean. And now I will create a path to create a mask. And I could do this. I'm gonna go the simple way today and just make a selection of the object and the shadow as one. But if you wanted to go a bit more advanced, you could cut out the product and the shadow separately to be able to work with them more. But for this, I'm gonna be happy with just keeping them together. So I'll make a path. Okay, that's the path. I'll save that. And now on this group, I will select that, add a little bit of feathering, and create a mask. So here's our first object cut out. And now with the mask on, it cuts the shadow kind of hard. So what I'll do is I'll just on the mask, I'll just simply use the blur tool to just make this a little hard, 50% maybe. And I'll just make the edge of the shadow a little softer by just blurring the mask a little bit. Yeah, looking good. So now with our other object, I will do the same thing. I'll start by cleaning it. Okay, cleaned up, and let's create a path to cut these out as well. Okay, so now we have our path for our second object. So I'll make a selection, a little feathering, and a mask. And I'll soften this shadow edge a little bit here as well. Nice. Let's make some adjustments, and let's just add a bit of contrast. Make these pop a little bit. Something like that. And the pink reflection that reflects on the object, they pick up this pink a lot, and since they're blue, it becomes a pretty cold pink. So let's just see if we can adjust that a little bit, make it match a little more with the background. Something like that, and maybe take it down a little bit. Something like that. I'll just copy these adjustments and put them on our other objects so they match. Nice. One more thing I want to do is I shot these on paper, which has a paper structure, and now I've cut them out and placed them on this solid color. So here you can see that the shadow, which is the paper structure, does not match with the background. So I thought I would just add a little bit of texture to this background to match better with the shadows. And instead of cleaning up the shadow, I'm not really a big fan of no texture. I always like to add a little bit of texture. So on our background, I will create a new layer that will be in soft light and filled with 50% gray. And now we'll just zoom in, and to this I will add noise. And this is just, you need to just try and find something that you think will match with the structure of the object. So let's start here, and let's blur this a little bit. Something like that. See, we're already, that works pretty well, I think. Could always lower the opacity of the layer. Yeah, that's nice. So now our background has a little bit of texture, which is nice. And now it is time to try to create a pattern of these. And what I'll do is I'll make a bunch of copies and place them out. And the way I like to do that, well, first of all, I will turn these into smart objects. Convert smart object. There we go. And let's make these red, and I'll make copies of them. And this is, I don't want to flatten everything and create this and then decide, I want to go back, I want to do something else. So I'll just keep these, not use them, and work on these copies and create everything, and just in case I'll have them here. Okay, so let's start with this A. And of course now I could just make a copy, drag it somewhere that I think will be nice, like that, make another copy. But here is where it gets kind of tricky for me, because Photoshop is trying to help me to place them, but I find that it never quite works when you drag them both up and down and sideways. I can't really find the exact lines. So what I usually do is I create actions where I copy and nudge them, and then I can just play that action again and again, and it will make that same nudging every time, and I know that they will all have been moved the exact same. So I'll bring out the action panel. Let's make a new group, call that YouTube nudge. And let's create an action. And so what I'm standing on the layer I want. So the first thing I want to do is create a copy. And then I'll just start nudging using the arrows on my keyboard. And I am not quite sure what I want, but maybe something like this. So I'll stop the action. So now I have an action that creates a copy of the layer I have active, and it will move that layer the way I just moved it. So let's put that underneath. I'll stand on this copy and I'll play this action. See, and I can play it again and again. And I can drag these over here, stand on the top one, play this action again until I have a full row. And just to not have like a million layers, I will merge these into one pixel layer. That is this. So now I can move these as one. So now I have one row, and now I want to copy this row. So what I'll do is I'll simply make another action. And I want to make a copy, and I want to start nudging these. Just you can move them around, just try to see, we could try to align them this way, or just find something that just looks nice. So maybe something like this. So I'll stop there and I'll stand on this layer and I will play this action and it will create the same thing. And now I can merge all of these, and now I have a layer with all that happening. Nice, that looks pretty cool. And now for my B object. I want to replace one of these with my B object. So let's just pick one, maybe this one. I'll put this into difference so I can place it correctly. There we go. And now I can simply, on this layer, add a layer mask and just mask this object out. And there we go. It's pretty cool. And the reason I make the canvas this big is that this gives so much cropping opportunities. If you want to make like a 16:9 format, you can do that. If you want to do like a 9:16, you have a lot of options. See, pretty cool. Okay, that's it. So what I'll do now is I'll just run through my other images, the yellow one and the blue one. I'll do basically the exact same thing. So I'll just get to that, and I'll probably just speed that up so you can see the process, and then we'll have a look at the finished images. Okay, that's it. We are done. 3 different images. Nice series. And if you have any suggestions or ideas how this could be done more efficiently or whatever, please comment. We're all here to learn, so I welcome that. And please subscribe and like this video, and I'll see you soon.